please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hope I didn't knock that thing out.
Yeah.
I hit it pretty good.
What? Oh.
No.
Good.
Good. It's my Easter gift. Okay. Roll call, please. Boss?
Present.
Pipia? Graham?
Here.
Hughes?
Present.
Fry?
Present.
Schroller?
Here.
Throm? Here. Barnes?
Here.
We have a quorum. All right. Cindy, did you put these out? I said. Cindy put the minutes, the only changes in these are just a few typos that I gave.
Mostly periods after St. John.
Oh, I was asking how to spell St. John. But there were a couple just spelling things, and the only thing really monumental was I pulled out the word level again. I think she had level again, and I just say about the sports field were to be leveled because I don't think we've leveled them before. And did I pull out anything else, Cindy?
That was the only word.
That was the only word. So yeah, otherwise they were just typos or making St. John spelled correctly. So these in your hand, would these be the minutes as presented? Did anyone else have any changes? Okay, I would yes?
Yeah, I do have some changes.
Okay,
In page 2, paragraph 7 of that disc golf resolution, on line 6, if you start with C.M. Hughes, I want you to delete the next 2 sentences and insert the following 2 sentences. And that would be C.M. Hughes stated, "We were told last month we would take care of this resolution before the baskets got put in." Period. C.M. Hughes asked who gave the authority to put the baskets in. And then in line 11, following the city of Marysville, add in 1 sentence. C.M. Hughes reminded the council that Marysville Sport and Rec, Brian Froggle stated they were not his baskets. That was said in the minutes in the meeting. I want that in the minutes.
Can I have a copy?
Yes.
It would be easier for me. Thank you.
okay. All right, does anyone else have any amendments?
I would add that I think Kyle Goraki's name is misspelled. I think it's got a C in there.
Oh, it might be. Oh, look.
Just if we're going to be fixing name spelling.
A-C-K-E?
Yeah.
A-K-E. A-C-K-E.
But my name's spelled right, so thanks, Cindy.
You're welcome, John.
Okay.
Look at that.
Anything else? So I would entertain a motion for the minutes on April 8th as amended.
Move to approve the minutes of April 8th meeting as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. The next item is public comments. If you are not on the agenda, you're welcome to come to the podium and share for 5 minutes, giving your name, your address, and your ward. Oh, we don't have a podium.
Gotta teach them how to do this. Can you not tap on that, please?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Vicki Sue Gross. I live at 301 Carolina, Ward 3. And I was just wondering if something could not be done about the 18-wheelers that come down the hill using their jake brake. Somehow or other, it just seems like it's happening more often now. I don't know why. But I mean, it'll just rattle your teeth and rattle you out of a sleep. I remember when Bob Shipman was on council, even though he lives like 3 blocks off the highway, back in a neighborhood in the middle of town, he said he could hear it very loudly. And it just seems to get worse, and I don't think I've ever seen a car or a truck being pulled over for doing that. We're posted outside of town.
Is it posted out there, no jake brake, on all the entrances into town?
I believe so. Yep.
So it
we
just
ask
needs to be
Betty,
enforced.
please?
You can mention it to police officer, or Chief Ackerman.
I think you're right. I think there's more truck traffic than there has been, and
They've
that's a lot of it.
been diverting them through onto our
Because of the
highway.
Nebraska highways.
I-29 being closed, so every other road anywhere near it's getting busy.
Well, I think it spreads very quickly. If somebody gets fined, if they get stopped, I think it spreads among the truckers very quickly that we enforce that, or that they will be stopped. And if I had a sleeping baby in the afternoon, I'd be real upset, because it is so loud. You know, it'd wake the dead and the babies. So if you could ask the police to enforce that, I know my neighbors would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move along to business and discussion items. The first item is a contract agreement. I did send an email to Austin today, and he had checked references, correct? And the references you gave were the city of, you want to mention those real quick?
Oh, Washington, Lynn, and Onega. That's where Aldridge Fireworks does their displays.
And you had checked with the cities, and they were happy with it? Okay, and the only thing that I didn't think was in here, it doesn't say where they're gonna do the show. So, I assume they're doing it at Lakeview? So we just need to say, 20-minute show, at the Lakeview Complex? And are they aware that it's a Lakeview Complex?
I will check with them.
I thought Dave discussed that with them, but
So,
But yeah, I know he discussed how they clean up
And where it was.
Where it was. yeah.
okay, I think it just needs, we'll just handwrite that in, and then I'll initial it and sign, and then they can initial it. Is that all right? Did you guys have any other questions about the fireworks? And I would entertain a motion to approve the contract as amended.
I move to approve the fireworks contract as amended.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. All right. The next thing up are the windows for Lakeview. Is there anything else you want to share, Austin, about these?
No, they're just replacements for the nest, all four sides, all the same windows, but he got them from Hometown and Cromie Lumber, but no matter who got the window bid, Argo Construction would be the one to install them.
And this molding, is that only if it goes to Hometown, or?
No, I forgot to, hold on, Cromie put their own stuff in there. Where'd it go? Cromie had their own, and it was $260. I don't know why that's not in here. I'll be right back.
Do you guys have any questions about the windows?
Well, I had just kind of a general question. I mean, just because after I was looking through the packet last week, is there a reason we have to have windows there? Wasn't the original purpose of the windows so they could see to control the scoreboards and things, but we don't use them for that anymore because we have the little handheld remotes? So, I mean, not to be dense, but do we need windows? Do we need the full bay of windows? Is it just, what do we use the space for now?
For the,
The referees go up there, I know, in between games and
Just as kind of
tournaments.
a place for them to,
Yeah.
Brian
And do
said-
we ever film from up there? Do they film the?
I don't think they could, it's not a really clean shot from up there.
Are there windows there now?
Yes.
And what's wrong with them?
I think they're not
They're
secure.
They're wood casing and they're,
I think
Just
they're,
rotted.
yeah.
I think they're rotting. Yes, they're
Condensation over
Yeah.
time has rotted them.
Right.
But I mean, these are nice windows, but I kind of question the need for a big
Do
set of
you-
windows at all.
Kevin, you probably know more than me about the use of these windows. Do you have any insight on that?
Like everyone said, originally when we put them in, that the mic and everything was up there so you could control the scoreboard and announce the game, but I think they still do the announcing up there.
I was gonna say
Do
they
they?
probably do
Oh,
just
I'm
still
sure
do
they
the
do.
announcing
Yeah.
at all
I
the,
don't know, I guess maybe all the
Fields.
softball games I go to aren't announced.
Never been announced.
I've never been to an
there when they
announced game at
announce.
Lakeview. I didn't know we had announced
I used to
system.
announce once in a while up there, so. that was-
yeah, well, it's at the council meeting, at the Kiwanis, we still
Yeah.
announce at all the games.
Yeah. You
Well,
would-
then, my other question would be, this is for 4,
Right.
but there's no games or anything to the south or northwest, so why
I
could
would
we
guess-
save money by just not replacing them all?
Wouldn't you-
I mean,
Wouldn't you get like mold and stuff if the wood is rotting?
potentially. I don't know what
Don't
the
you worry
structure
about
is underneath
mold?
the windows. Do you?
Wood.
It's all to before construction?
I think they're probably gonna run into some of that rot when they start taking those windows out.
Yeah,
So I just figured I'd ask before somebody asked me, why are you even replacing the windows? You know?
You can say mold,
Mold.
right?
I'm not gonna tell them there's mold.
You can say announcing.
Prevention, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you find out?
Chromie submitted the same molding for $236.72.
Okay,
Mayor,
yes.
and I noticed one of them is for aluminum and one is for fiberglass.
Did you notice that?
I was trying to read through what the difference was, but everything was matching up, so.
So is
Well, if you go down towards the bottom and it says that
the Simonton windows?
framed, screened coverage, it's about 4 lines up from the bottom, 5 lines up from the bottom. Chromie's is, let's see,
Is this fiberglass
Fiberglass.
extruded? And
and Hometown is aluminum. Otherwise, they were the same, I
where
think.
do you see aluminum? Oh, there they are. Okay. 5 rows up too? Okay. So is that a big, so what does that mean? Is one preferred over the other?
Fiberglass versus an aluminum,
$250.
Well, I didn't, well, because the
I mean, I don't
cost.
know if that's the reason for the difference
Is
in
that,
price.
is that in the screen?
That's what I'm trying to figure out if it's a screen, maybe.
Because,
That's what it looks like.
because I know like,
screen coverage,
Yeah.
fiberglass.
Yeah.
And then
Screen
Chromie's has the
coverage
aluminum.
half. They both say screen coverage
Aluminum.
half.
yeah,
so they
that's so
use,
you can open them up and keep the bugs out.
Yeah.
yeah, that's, I would take that, just seeing the screen coverage. But, oh, no. Aluminum. I think that is the whole window. Because it's screen cover, it's just, the screen coverage is talking about how it has half a screen. And then the next one, it says fiberglass in its own thing.
Is this, you're thinking that fiberglass means the whole
The
window?
whole thing, yeah. That's what
I would
Did
think
you,
it
when
was
you
the
made,
frame.
when you had them bid it, you didn't tell which kind you wanted?
Brian had these bid. And he talked to them himself.
Do you guys care whether it's aluminum? Well, what do we do about that when we have 2 separate bids that are different materials?
We had them, the way I would guess it is we put out, we want these covered, these spaces covered, give us what.
And not wood. We wanted something long,
Yeah,
supposedly more.
and not wood. So they
long-lasting.
came back with their own recommendation on how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys, Kevin, if you're the expert on this building, does it matter if it's fiberglass or aluminum?
It shouldn't matter. I mean, it's just an insert is all they are.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be able to take the old ones out, slide this in, screw it in, and then caulk around it, and you should be
Good to go.
good to go. I mean, that's pretty much our replacement window
Well, he said-
installs, so.
He said the wall framing on the Argo bid, wall framing as needed if any, for the damaged wood around there.
I'm sure they'll find some.
I'm sure they
What is around the interior of those windows? Is it
Drywall.
Is it drywall?
So, if you're gonna go with Chromie's bid, you'll have, well, it'll be that bid plus the molding at $236.72.
3672.
Or if you feel like we need aluminum, it'd be $38.65 plus the 301.
So they're $1,000 difference.
Right.
Well, I don't think they're gonna see a lot of heavy use, and I think if we're gonna put them in at all, we should probably do it economically.
Yes.
Considering we have other things we want to do at Lakeview.
Exactly.
Yeah,
$1,000 could be well spent on foul ball
Other
protection
things,
or other
yeah.
things.
so,
I'll make the motion, we go with Cromie's for $2,876 for the windows, plus the $236.72 for the molding.
is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then we need to approve the Argo construction.
I move we approve Argo Construction for installation of windows for $1,315.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Was there not any other bids?
No. And I mean,
Did
it's,
he ask for bids?
what, he asked, he had to go find, usually when I go to either of these two, they have somebody lined up. But they didn't have anybody lined up, so we had to go find somebody to do this. And being such a low number, I mean,
Did you get a
$1,300,
second bid?
$1,300, yeah.
It doesn't sound that outrageous, I don't think, but there is only one bid, yes.
So this is what happened the last time I got bids from this, from these two. They both had the same provider to install the windows. So they got their quote to install from those guys, from that one guy. So it'd be if they had that same provider, it would have been the same way, just from two different places. And how they incorporated it in their bid.
So do you want to accept this, or do you want to require Austin to go get a second bid?
Well, I think in the future that the request for the bids ought to come from City Hall.
Well, that's probably true rather than through Brian. You think you would have caught that between the fiberglass and
I try, to be honest, I probably would have named what type of material it is. I probably caught that.
so? That was a good point, Darlene. So with that being said, do we want to go ahead and accept this offer, this bid to install?
I can get it done before season starts.
So is that a motion to accept this bid?
Yeah, move to accept the bid.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 7-0. All right, the next item is the community visioning, and Cindy sent an email and enclosed the email to answer the questions from our last meeting. My biggest question was answered in the first paragraph about, mine was regarding page 14, where it says parcels of high potential for redevelopment, and they said they wouldn't be identifying those till the fall semester, and that they would communicate those to us. So it would be part of the research from that. And the other thing was talking about the depot, and as I can, based on her paragraph there, it's always been part of the deal, and I signed a piece of paper that said we were applying for the grant, so. And, the other third question, I should say, was us being notified, and Patty Hawley said that she would communicate to us anything she received, and KSU was notified of this as well.
Absolutely. And I
Okay.
got an email today questioning where the FEMA lots were, if I could give them a list, and I did send it.
Okay. Now, why are they looking at FEMA lots?
To make sure they
To
don't
make sure
take
they're not doing what you just asked them not to do.
Well, this one, and the Urban Development and Development Seminar is talking about Broadway Street between 2nd and 15th, Center Street between 2nd and 15th, and parcels of high development for redevelopment. I assumed that it was but it's not, it's the whole city?
No, because you guys mentioned you don't want them going around and picking FEMA lots. So we
True.
mentioned that to them.
So we mentioned
And so we're just following up with just making sure they know
Where they are.
everything about it, yeah.
Okay. But I would still think that parcels was really more up the downtown urban area rather than residential?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, because the housing study the study is roughly defined by the city limits.
Yeah, so that's
Yep.
why.
That's why we wanted to make sure that they knew that some of those areas were FEMA lots.
okay. So with that being said, and that research being done, I don't have any problems with going ahead and signing this document. So do you guys have any concerns, or do you want to proceed? So I had an intention to
I would
approve and have the mayor
move
sign?
to, allow the mayor to sign the document.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. All right. Let's see. This next one is parking on the right-of-way ordinance. And I thought we should just insert the word public, because we have it a couple places and not, so on public right-of-way, and on public right-of-way, and on public right-of-way. And then you guys changed that to 233, so that second place, it needs to be a 3, 233.
Where are you talking?
On section 214-233.
So just wherever it referenced right-of-way, I thought we should say public right-of-way. And the only other thing is, I thought we should add brick to the paved surfaces in case somebody has a brick. And when we put this in traffic, will Butch be able to issue these, or is it limited to the police officers?
It's a ordinance just like any others.
So it's in traffic, in the code book under
14.
traffic. 14 is traffic. But does that matter? I mean, I just want to make sure Butch is able to issue these violation.
I think there was a nice, because it's not a ticketable, or it's not a, well, just because it's under the section traffic doesn't say it's for police.
So Butch can.
Yeah, I would say yes.
I think this was discussed, the chapter 14 states, police department, municipal judge, and all administrative departments of the city charged with enforcement of this article shall be supplied, et cetera.
So enforcement officers can.
As long as, Butch is charged with the enforcement, which I think he has that general obligation or duty.
Okay. Just wanted to,
Mayor,
yes.
I think we ought to add somewhere in here that it spell out that it also addresses non-motorized, such as trailers, travel trailers.
Well, I did ask Austin to send me,
And he said that, he looked it up and he said it does cover that, but I think we need to spell it out.
well, I thought it might be helpful to go ahead and read vehicle as it's defined in the STO, because it would say, it says every device in, upon, or by which any person or property is or may be transported or drawn upon a public highway, except for like electric
Motorized
wheelchairs
yeah.
and stuff like that. And we could go, I thought we should probably put that
The
down.
electric wheelchair is motorized.
Right, but it says
Just
except.
so that we
yeah.
have addressed that we're also including trailers and
Well,
travel
that would
trailers
include
and-
property that may be transported or drawn upon public
And it
highway.
doesn't have to be a tagged vehicle either, because a lot of trailers don't have to be tagged by state law, so they'd also fall into that.
I was thinking, we have to publish this in the newspaper, and I just think it would be clearer if that definition of vehicle was actually in this ordinance.
Let me, if I may, read
Sure.
the definition of the standard traffic ordinance of vehicles. Every device and upon or by which any person or property is or may be transported or drawn upon a public highway, excepting electrical personal assistant mobility devices or devices moved by human power or used exclusively upon stationary rails or tracks.
So I was just thinking it might be helpful to go ahead and have that definition of vehicle in there. Can we add that as a 2, or you think that's crazy?
I think we should have it in there.
Can you say something like vehicle is defined as blah, 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 and then put that at whatever it is to say forever as
Because
it's changed?
if you do that, right now, it matches what it says in the STO.
But can't we put at SEQ, ET SEQ, and doesn't that mean that forever as that law is changed, it would, isn't that what that means?
Well,
Can we put that definition of vehicle as defined by the STO and put that ET-SEQ on it? And that would mean as that changes in the standard, so would it change according to this ordinance?
I don't know if that would have that exact effect. I suppose it might.
I thought that's what that meant. That
Where
it
are
would,
you referring
that
to?
ET-SEQ, I thought that meant as, if it's, as it's changed
That's
for statutes. and stuff.
statutes moving forward after
It won't.
2001, 2002, 2003, within that.
Would it be, would the traffic ordinance be after that, something like that after that? As or can we put in,
Yeah, if I'm understanding, it sounds like it's being proposed to basically input this definition as it's stated in the current STO into the ordinance. So I guess some people don't have to go find this.
I think it'd be clear, especially when it's published in the paper, for people to understand what all it includes.
Well, and I think you would just want to put language that, this language may get modified. I mean, because as it's stated right now, it's as this is modified, it continues to adopt the language of the current
Yeah, how do we
STO.
say that?
Well, let me kind of look into it off the top of my head. I don't know the great way, but I mean, if that's what council wants to do, get that figured out.
You guys think that makes sense?
I see what you're saying.
I mean, I had to ask them what vehicle meant.
Is there any way to just not maybe include it in the ordinance, but include it in the paper?
Yeah,
That
there you go.
clip?
Like right underneath it, yeah, the definition of what that is.
I mean, that serves the same purpose of getting it out there into the public.
Without having to
Without
actually put
having
it
to-
into, because that's the main thing, we just want people to know, right?
Yes, and also, I guess, again, from our staff, they'd have to go again to the STO, but if it's not written in there, but,
Sometimes it's just, it gets more confusing if things change and you have to go back and readapt
Yeah, because you
ordinances.
definitely have to change
versus
wording in
this
this and
code is going to always reference that even if that changes.
I've never seen an ordinance with something added to the bottom in the newspaper.
We can make something happen. I mean, that's, they'll print,
Whatever we pay them.
we can pay them to print it if necessary.
Okay, well, anyway, my main thing is to make sure that people understand what that vehicle means when they read the paper. Yes?
Oh, one thing, Madam Mayor, in that 332 there, that number 1, where you define a paved surfaces, I believe you should add brick.
Yeah, under number 1? Yeah. So, does anybody else have any changes to this?
I wonder about, as far as the, except to temporarily load or unload property. I've been to several garage sales and auctions where there were trailers that would have been possibly partially in the right-of-way for 24 hours. Is that considered loading or unloading property? Or would that also be something? So I know I've personally
people
put my
do that
garage sale in my right-of-way, and I've been to auctions where they were in the right-of-way, but it was usually
But-
24 hours or
Yeah,
48
24
hours.
Yeah, I would say that 24 hours.
It kind of falls
is-
into the same rubric. Okay, well, eventually an auction will take place that way, so.
Yeah, well, we don't want them storing that forever on
No,
there.
and they don't want to either, I don't think, so.
All right.
Well, and these temporary exceptions, yeah, limited to 30 days. They're exceptions can be made.
Yeah.
Okay, so the changes are just every time it's referenced right away to say public and to change that 232 to 233 and to add brick. Those are our amendments. I would entertain a motion to approve as amended. Do we have to have an ordinance number?
I think it would be 1873 according to my book.
1873.
It's roll call after.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve ordinance 1873, you said?
Yeah.
With the amendments?
Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, roll call.
Boss,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Schroller,
Yes.
Throm,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
It's a step in the right direction, Darlene. I heard that hesitation.
I hope in the future we can
You want more, I
have an
know.
enhanced ordinance.
I know. Okay, the next item is the Patterson Trust. The memorandum of understanding, the only thing I had on there is, it says it's gonna protect the orchard that's existing, and my only question is, are the holes as they are laid out now do that, protect the orchard? I just have to, I
I
haven't
don't know
walked
how.
the course.
I haven't measured how far away, but I should get a picture. It's not like they're right next to the orchard. or
So
anything like
it
that.
protects the orchard the way they're throwing. Has anybody played? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you walked the course?
I have played. No, don't.
No, have you walked the course at City Hall, City Park?
Yes, I've played the course.
So did it, the way the holes are laid out correct right now, do they protect the orchard?
I would say so. I wasn't anywhere near it, but I wasn't anywhere near where I was trying to go most of the time anyway. By the end, I was getting better, but yeah. So I don't think so. I
As
don't
it's
think it
laid
would've-
out now,
No.
it meets this criteria?
I'd say so. The only trees that really, I think, are the scrub trees on the west side of the railroad right-of-way, those Chinese elms or whatever, the ash, I don't know what they are. But no, the orchard was well protected. Didn't
Okay.
seem like it was in the way.
All right, does anyone else have any questions regarding this memorandum of understanding? Then I would entertain a motion to accept.
Move to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Patterson Trust.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? 7-0, all right.
And just to update the council on the Patterson Trust land. Ms. Finney indicated that she was going to sign the deed, trustee's deed, and send it over. I guess it's unclear to me if she was waiting on this signed memorandum of understanding, but I'm certainly I intend to send her a copy of it once it's executed by the city. And if she is waiting for it, then I presume I'll get it right away. And she may just need a follow-up. But I anticipate that getting to the city before next council.
Oh, you're just saying you don't have the deed yet, even
No,
when
it's
we
not
sign
signed.
this.
She referenced it. She said she was going to sign it in front of a notary as is required. I just don't have that yet from her.
Okay.
I just want the council, if they're wondering where the deed's at, we're still waiting for whatever reason.
Okay. All right, so then the addendum for the rec agreement with Amerisville Sport and Rec. The only thing I had is disc golf on number 7 should be with a C. And then when it says the holes shall be donated to the city at no cost, that doesn't have to say disc golf baskets.
I would think so. They're not holes, they're baskets.
And so, the first sentence I think is correct, where it says 9 disc golf holes. But after that, I think all those references should be disc golf baskets rather than holes.
Well, I think even that first sentence, it should say basket.
To install up to 9, okay. Disc golf baskets, okay. So that's the only thing I had on those. You guys have anything else? Was that the only thing you were gonna say, Darlene? So disc golf baskets wherever it says holes. Did you draft this up, Austin?
Craig did, I made some changes. Just the disco, just a few minor changes.
But this is, this reflects all your changes? Okay. Did you have a question, Terry?
Yes, I do. Why does Marysville Sport and Rec own the baskets?
I guess because they bought them. Didn't they buy them?
They bought 'em.
I mean, people donated to Marysville Sport, as I understand it. You can speak if you want.
Yeah, people donated money to Marysville Sport and Rec. Marysville Sport and Rec bought the baskets, then they donated them to the city,
Then they're the cities.
as long as they're in City Park.
And I think that's what it says. The baskets shall be donated at no cost if the baskets are installed in the city park.
What happens at the end of 6 months?
As long as they remain in City Park, they remain the cities.
They are the cities. Is that what you said?
As long as they're in City Park.
Okay, so we can go ahead and approve this with the changes made from holes to disc golf baskets and that correction of the spelling on number 7. So with those amendments, we're having a lot of amendments tonight. So I would, to approve the addendum as amended.
Move to approve. As amended.
Second.
Is there any further discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0, all right. And the last item is the agreement with the school district. I do not have any changes. Does anybody have any amendments to that? Or questions?
Move to approve the addendum with USD 364.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0, all right. The next item is a small cell tower. Email, do you want to talk about that,
I
Craig?
can very briefly, I don't have a lot more to say. I kind of just wanted to put it in front of the council's eyes, just for your attention, to give you sort of a heads up. This communication was made by council for Verizon. If you recall, there was some general discussion months ago about an FCC declaratory ruling addressing small cell facilities and really restricting the state and municipalities from putting restrictions, and sort of lifting those restrictions made by those localities for these kinds of small cell facilities. However, as I understand Marysville, on the books, we don't really have any restrictions for what meets the definition of a small cell facility. What's, I guess, somewhat unclear to me, because you have the information I have, I don't have any more, is exactly the dimensions of what he's referring to when he says his client wants to deploy small cell facilities on Evergy utility poles located in public rights of way. All I know from that is pretty much what it says. We have existing poles and they're going to put some sort of facility on it. I don't know how big that facility is going to be. I presume, and that may be wrong to presume, that it will meet the definition set forth in the FCC of a small cell facility. If it does, I don't believe that Marysville has anything restricting what they can do or install, as long as they have, I guess, what they need as an agreement with Evergy.
Well, you know, I went to that leadership conference and they were talking about a new Senate bill or House bill, I don't know which it was, about small cell towers, talking about franchisee fees.
Right.
And they were talking about attaching them to wires and that the city should be able to start securing
Right.
a fee.
Right. So Yeah, when I say that, I'm sort of making a kind of a statement of fact of what, as I see the existing ordinance or lack thereof, that Marysville has in place. And it may be because of that absence of losing out on franchise fees, losing out on ability, while still in compliance with the FCC's declaratory ruling restricting this, setting aesthetic standards, and there's a lot that they restrict in terms of how much cities can put restrictions on aesthetic standards. But Marysville doesn't have anything, really. It's kind of, for lack of a better phrase, but a wild, wild west for some of these companies to come in to do this. I think, but in the defense of a town the size of Marysville, it's usually applying to towns with more population because these companies aren't coming into smaller towns as frequently, but they are now. Obviously, the city's being contacted. So I just kind of wanted to let you see that this was happening. My response is essentially going to be, I'm not aware of anything that beyond what he's already referenced in the email, but also maybe to get further clarification. Can you tell me more details about what to expect that you're going to install into these poles? So you'll know that, and the public will know what's about to be done. Now, what the city can do about that to prevent it, I'm not sure.
Well, if it's a revenue source, did they talk about that in any of your trainings about that?
All they talked about mostly was the whole, what he referenced, where the FCC basically laid the groundwork for telecommunication to come in and establish what they wanted. Taking out, last I heard, taking out the franchise agreements like we have with electricity and the like, saying that it would not be legal for us to charge them like we do the 5% on.
So you haven't heard of any kind of bill that's in the works about that?
No, nothing's come through my.
Anybody else?
Mayor, I know cities are working on the aesthetics part, and I think Manhattan either has an ordinance.
They do.
Or they're working on it.
Did you look at that? Because I was going to bring that up about
So
Manhattan.
I think that's real important, because I know like Blue Valley put these big ugly cables, real low, I can see it right on my window. And first they were like a silver, and now they replaced it with a black or dark color. So,
Well, this article said the small cell 5G mobile network, that Manhattan approved the aesthetic standards and placement prioritization for the towers and public right-of-ways. So have you been tracking with Manhattan what they're doing?
Well, I have their ordinance in front of me right now and it includes aesthetic standards.
So do we need to do something like that?
Well, I think it's prudent and good practice so that you don't get monstrosity, ugly things that you didn't want and you could have restricted or prevented. We just have to be very cognizant, as Manhattan and any other municipality in the country, it has to comply with this FCC ruling, which made it so cities couldn't be so restrictive. I mean, it has to be reasonable. There are certain standards on aesthetic restrictions that you put into your ordinance. But
should we be proactive now before things get further down?
Now that you've been
That's right.
contacted twice
That's
by
right.
US Cellular and Verizon.
they're coming. And as he said, right now they're just looking at putting something on an existing pole with his Evergy. But he's two other potential options that they're looking at. Installing, or putting it on city poles or building their own poles.
When you say city poles, we don't really own that many light poles, do we?
No.
Just 7th Street.
Right. That may not be as realistic for the city of Marysville and a place like.
Since we don't have our own electric
Right,
company.
right. But those are probably the three categories they're looking at everywhere. But yeah, I think it's prudent for any city to be proactive about that, and I'm happy to. I mean, whether or not word for word what Manhattan has put in will apply to Marysville, I'm not so sure.
So, it sounds like they had it says placement prioritization, so they just tell them where they want them? or where they would allow them?
Potentially, I haven't looked at it that deeply to know for sure.
Okay.
But
Well, we don't want to miss a franchise opportunity, and we probably need to draft up something like this.
But
Do
we
you wanna
also
do that, or
want
do you want Craig to
to
do
know
that?
how they're going to look too.
And we can work in combination to
Okay.
get it done.
what was that, Darwin?
We want to know how they're going to look.
Right.
Could we get a copy of Manhattan's ordinance?
Let's, yeah, we can do that, and we'll work on one for ourselves.
Okay.
Okay. And I asked the league, I sent the league an email this afternoon saying, tell me more about that bill, and I didn't hear back from them before I came.
Okay.
All right, so that's all we need to talk about for that?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
One question about that. Has there ever been any talk about the money under this thing? Is it, we're all gonna agree to do something, and then they're gonna decide what they're gonna pay for it? Has there ever been any talk about
The only
them
talk,
making an offer?
the FCC restricts us on how much we can charge them, and we have to abide by that.
And maybe to answer your question, an ordinance would need to be, as I understand it, on the books for the city to,
Deny it.
well, to require a franchise fee. I mean, there needs to be a franchise ordinance, which the city of Marysville has for a number of utilities. And I don't know that it has for small cell.
I was gonna say, it must not apply to wireless, because when they were talking about that leadership conference, it was like, why aren't we getting franchisee fees for that?
All right.
Yeah, we just have gas and electric, really.
If it's wireless, they don't
And
need to
cable
put
and
poles
phone.
in our town.
Well, it's the cell towers.
I don't know that much about it, I know just enough.
Somewhere there's gonna be something physical in town, that's what they should have to pay for.
Well, even when they say they put them on, when they put them on the wires in town or the poles, they're saying that they're gonna start collecting a franchisee fee.
Yeah,
But they never talk about what's gonna be, what they agree to.
well, that would be like all other franchisee fees. It would be reduced into an agreement between the city and the company, the franchise or which has been done. But the city needs that ordinance to set forth what that fee is. That ordinance needs to be in compliance with the FCC, which is more restrictive with small cell facilities about what you can charge for franchise fee. So that would and should all happen prior to installation and deployment of this, just like it would for general electricity and other utilities that are franchised.
Well, we're allowing them an easement to get in here. Maybe they could say something about how lucrative their offer's gonna be for us to even talk about it. That's
Yeah,
my
well,
point.
I think it's still in the discussion at the State House level, so we just need to keep an eye on it.
Okay.
We'll have an ordinance, or I don't know when we'll have an ordinance, but
You'll keep an eye
we'll work
on
on it, yeah, we'll work on that.
All right, so that's an FYI. All right, I don't know if any notices or hearings. On the consent agenda, included is the National Travel and Tourism Proclamation, so I'm going to read it so that everyone knows what it says. It says, whereas travel has a positive effect on Kansas and the nation's economic prosperity and image abroad, whereas travel impacts business productivity and individual travelers' well-being, whereas travel to and within the U.S. provides significant economic benefits for the nation, generating more than $2.5 trillion in economic output in 2018, with nearly $1 trillion spent directly by travelers, whereas travel is among the largest private sector employers in the U.S., supporting 15.7 million jobs in 2018, including 8.9 million directly in the travel industry and 6.8 million in other industries, whereas travel spending directly generated tax revenues of $171 billion for federal, state, and local governments, funds used to support essential services and programs, Whereas the city of Marysville received transient guest tax of $65,765 in 2018 and spent $53,372.06 in various tourism projects and paid convention and tourism salaries of $21,541. Whereas international travel to the U.S. is the nation's #1 services export and #2 overall. Whereas meetings, events, and incentive travel are core business functions that help companies strengthen business performance, educate employees and customers, and reward business accomplishment, which in turn boosts the U.S. economy. In 2018, domestic and international business travelers spent $327.5 billion. Whereas leisure travel, which accounts for more than 3/4 of all trips taken in the U.S., spurs countless benefits to travelers' health and wellness, creativity, cultural awareness, education, happiness, productivity, and relationships. Whereas travel is a pillar of economic growth, creating jobs at a faster rate than other sectors. Whereas welcoming visitors from near and far has always been and always will be the enduring ethos of the travel industry and Marysville. Whereas travel matters to Marysville, therefore I, Mayor Carla Grun, do hereby proclaim May 5th through the 11th, 2019 as National Travel and Tourism Week in Marysville, and urge the citizens of Marysville to join me in this special observance with appropriate events and commemorations. And the best thing about that is the Mother's Day market falls right after that, so we are participating in it. We are very blessed that people started that years and years ago, that Mother's Day market, as well as the Big Blue Barbecue and Car Show to bring people to our city. Those are our two biggest events, bringing people to our town and an opportunity to showcase Marysville. So with that being said, the only other thing on the consent agenda is convention and tourism request. So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. The next item is the appropriations ordinance.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3697.
I second it.
In the amount of,
Yeah, $263.177.40.
and Darlene quickly,
Yep,
Yes.
she goes right on.
quickly seconded it. And do you want to discuss any of the large items,
Well,
Darlene?
let's see, there was 72,000 plus, 72,000 transfer for the budget, payroll, and Blue Cross Blue Shield was 79,900. And then one other thing I might mention is there's $296 for service flags, but Jim Breeding and several others are reimbursing the city for those.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions about the appropriations ordinance?
I have one question. I'm just curious, what's a landing zone like?
It's so if, for instance, we had an accident this last year of the Feldkamp's van crashed out by Walmart, I believe. Helicopter landed out there. That's where something like that, we would use it there to direct where the helicopter would land, or they could also be used to in the nighttime to show the flashlights where they're blocking off a lane, and so on and so forth for the fire department.
So that's for the fire department?
Yep.
One other question. What do we need patio rock for?
More than likely, it was to replace where we put the ADA ramps in by the courthouse. We filled that back in because it settled. On Elm Street, they have a whole bunch of rock, the washed rock.
Back on Elm, behind the courthouse?
Yeah, behind the courthouse, where we put new ramps in.
That's all.
All right. Does anybody have anything else? Roll call.
Boss.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Schroller,
Yes.
Throm,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
All right. Austin, you're up.
All right, first thing on my report is the Lakeview sidewalk. This is a sidewalk proposed to go from the entrance or close up to the sign down to the Lakeview Ball Complex on the south side of the driveway in. This was proposed to get people off of the driveway and through the gate and a safer place to walk than where the cars are driving. And this is included as one of the items in our budget for the ball complexes.
So I drove by there on the way here, and it's a huge drop off. We're gonna have to build that up?
David went out there and shot it roughly, and he said he didn't, as you go down, it's not so bad, and he could go
And bench cut it? Is that what they're talking about doing?
he's maybe build it up a little bit here and take it down a little bit there. He did not feel, as he was walking this and using his tools, that it was not a huge problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you looked at it? You go to the ball field, beside the road, it drops off pretty
It's gonna be,
quick.
it's not gonna be right beside the road. It's gonna be probably 6 or 7 foot south of the road in that low
It's
spot.
gonna
And a
be-
mild bench cut, if you cut the uppers, just like building a trail or somewhere,
Yeah.
you cut the uppers 6 inches and you move that
Move
dirt
it
over,
over, yeah.
and it's really, it should, as long as it's not
It's
right
gonna
up
be on
against
a
it.
low place,
Yeah,
rather
it's
than
not
up on
gonna
the
be up
road.
high. It's gonna be down below the road.
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah, he did this specifically, and he said he could take out his surveying tools and, for whoever the project would go to and make sure it all works out.
And then so when we lay cement, we don't have to put a base, we just put cement, pouring cement down?
If the ground is right, they should be, I mean, they'll probably put some sand down, but this is how I wrote it up for that whole project down there, the handicap parking and all that. I don't think they didn't put any sand down there.
You don't have to worry about any base or anything?
No.
And did you happen to ask Brian, does this all coordinate with the list he gave us that we looked at? None of this contradicts the overall picture of that?
I didn't ask Brian specifically. I'm going off of what the council requested this previous year.
Can you say, you looked at the list, where you were at that meeting, and Jason, you were at the meeting, do you think there's anything that contradicts what they want to do? The other thing is,
Wouldn't think so. I mean, as long as it's not gonna interfere with any drainage,
Right.
solving the drainage problems
That
would
was
be my
their
only
main
concern, that we wouldn't, do something and have to tear it out, but I doubt that. It looks like we're adding some more drainage and stuff.
Right.
While we're
I know
doing
that-
this, so.
I'm sorry, I know they talked about making it more handicapped accessible around there. I wonder how much more, as long as they're doing it, you think we should increase the perimeter of concrete around the building?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things we talked about, I think, last year. It's one of the things they talked
Yeah,
about
it
at the
was.
meeting too.
Because when the kids are up, or anybody's at the window, you cannot get by on the southeast corner of the concession stand.
So as long as they're laying concrete, I was thinking maybe we should go ahead and see about expanding it to that perimeter. What do you guys think? And include that in the bid?
Yeah, or to have them estimate it separately, so we
Yeah,
know how
have
much
a
more it was gonna
add
cost
on.
to do that.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
an add option or whatever on the bid. I agree, it's hard to
Can
get
you
by
write
on
that
that.
out?
With them,
It
was
it
the
is,
black
'cause
diamond?
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's awful narrow behind it.
All right, I can I'd probably write it as a separate bid since I already have.
Yeah.
If you
But we
approve
prob-
this, I can go and write something else up and go along with it.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking that probably from going out standpoint, they'd probably bid both if we can get a
They're
better
already
price.
there, yeah.
And, so I don't know about these stem walls and whatever, but these 6-inch tubes are sufficient for drainage?
Two of them, if it fills up any more than that, it's gonna go
the top?
It's gonna go off of that tube or not the tube, but the flume. It's probably gonna go right over the flume, and down the road anyways.
Did you ask Tony or Rob to look at that?
No.
If we have it designed right?
No, we just,
No?
we were thinking of 8-inch tubes, but that's pretty big. 6 inches of tube is gonna be quite a bit itself, 2 of them. I mean, and creating the stem wall box to catch the water in there to go down underneath the sidewalk. That's what we were trying to figure out.
Kevin, you have any thoughts? You were talking to Jason
You're gonna have water coming down the road from 20th Street down,
on the sidewalk, probably.
on the road,
On the road and the
on
sidewalk.
the road. And anything on that south bank will come into that road, but once you get above that bank, the parking lot's got the curb on the south side, so that channels it to that catch basin in the southeast corner of that parking lot, so really you should just have the road and what little bit you're gonna pull off that south bank. And if it's dry, that south bank should hold a lot of water.
Are you gonna stair step this down? Is that what this means? Like, under the road? Like you have a tube now, and you're gonna have that drain down to where your sidewalk is? Your sidewalk is gonna be lower than the fence gate to get in?
No, it's gonna be
It should,
about the same. It's
it
gonna
should be
about the
caught up by then?
Should be
Yeah,
back up.
So where this drainage is, you believe that
This one's gonna be a drop.
it is a drop?
Yeah, or I have the picture. Yeah, this one's gonna be a drop and then it's gonna level into that box and go on.
Okay, so it's gonna be,
See, here it is right
how
there.
far is it gonna drop there?
Okay, so here's your drop right there. This is the existing flume. There's the drop into the box.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's the tubes.
So it is gonna be lower, you just don't know about how much? Oh, you have 5-foot drop there.
Right.
That's a lot, 5-foot drop.
So it's gonna drop into that box that we create with the stem walls right there and go underneath the sidewalk with those tubes out the other side and with a cement pad right there to catch the water so it's not eroding or just more permanent than these rocks riprap that we're wanting down to that.
Well, I'm not questioning what you, but who designed this?
Me and David.
And so, did you have anybody look at it? Like Tony, just to see if it looks right? Or are you guys thinking, I don't know anything about this, so I'm just saying.
We
do
went through
want
a few different designs ourselves, trying to figure out what we thought was best. We were trying to do it in-house rather than consulting.
I was just gonna say, maybe just to have them look at it. You guys, with drainage and water, it makes me nervous, and
You just need to make sure that that cut on the fence is deep enough to get it to that drain so it doesn't get on that field.
Right. So, yeah.
Because that's already got a soft spot out there.
The field does have a little berm right up to it.
Right.
Right next to the fence. We were, yeah.
well, I wouldn't mind spending a little bit of money just to have them look at it. CES look at it. Rob, can you look at this? Do you have copies of this? Do you know what we're talking about? So, how much would it cost just to have you guys look at it? Just to make sure that the drainage is gonna work? Or just the structure that, with that wall, that it's gonna be okay? Those are my two things.
They have a lot of drainage issues up there right now anyway, don't add
Yeah.
to it.
I know, I just after hearing about all of it.
And then wanting to level the fields and all that they want to do.
Is this gonna involve removing that tree?
Is there a tree?
We're not planning on removing any trees, maybe trimming it up.
Is a tree inside the fence?
The trees outside the fence.
Outside the
Go
fence?
back to your,
But it's gonna be where the sidewalk is.
Northwest of the dugout.
this one. It's, yeah, the tree will be over here, the sidewalk will be right up against the curb.
And who's gonna remove the fence and put a 5-foot wide gate in there?
That wasn't the plan. It's wide enough for a side,
Is there,
For-
is it already have a,
it's
Space in
30,
it?
it's 36 feet wide at the gate, or 36
Is there?
inches wide.
there's a gap there already?
There's a
Yeah,
gate there.
yeah, there's a gate there.
There's a walk-through gate there.
There's
Oh.
a walk-through gate there.
I always stay up on the slope.
Yep.
Well, it's what you guys want. I would just feel a little bit better if we had CES just take a look at it to make sure the drainage and the sidewalk's gonna fit along that lower level, but that's your call.
I don't necessarily have a problem with that. My only negative comment there would be, it'd be nice to get this rolling sooner rather than later, but I don't know what what were we talking about for timeline, Austin?
Well,
Pull it back up.
What was your, the bids would come in?
May 8th,
yeah, bids would be, May 8th, no later than September 30th is when they'd have it done.
yeah, so it'd be during the season.
It's gonna be a little tough, but we're trying to walk
Yeah.
over it.
Forms and bits laying around.
Right, well, I mean, right now, like you said, they're walking down the road.
Yeah.
Not to say I want them to keep walking down the road.
No, I mean, when you get closer to the dugouts, up towards the,
Oh, I got
Wait
what you're
and
saying.
Start it next
up by the
year?
gate where the games are in the dugouts in that
End
area.
of the season.
You think
At
maybe it
the
should be
end.
done at the end of the
I
season
think
rather
it's
than
maybe a
now?
Good
Well,
project.
But the only problem is, the end of the season, you're looking
You're looking at
last,
winter.
I'm gonna say last week, or second to last week in October.
No, I wasn't gonna push that far.
I'm telling you, they play soccer and everything up there that late
Yeah,
in the
but
year.
that's not gonna be the crowds that the softball
The
tournament and stuff
softball
will
and
be.
baseball.
That's the main concern.
When
for me.
does
That's
Brian
usually
take his
over-
vacation? He takes a vacation sometime. Whenever that is, we need to have him do it then. Because that's when the fields are closed. We can ask him. But, so right now, we are kind of in the heavy-duty rec season, right? There.
Baseball, yeah.
So we're not in a hurry to get this done, so maybe we can wait till the next meeting. He can bring another perimeter write-up,
Lakeview.
and he can have this checked out with CES, and then we'll bid it. You guys okay with that? Sorry, Austin, it's not that, it looks like you did a good job, it's just paranoid about water. That's a consensus of council, right? Everybody, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Austin, you're next. You're still up.
Next one is the CES proposal for the water line replacement on Jenkins from 17th to 20th Street. They proposed to do bidding, the construction documents and bidding services for a lump sum of $7,820.
And this is coming out of where? Is it coming out of water?
Water.
Water revenue fund?
Yep.
All right, I didn't have any problems. You guys have any questions?
Move to approve CES's proposal for the water line replacement, 17th to 20th on Jenkins.
Second.
For $7,820, coming out of the water revenue
On
fund?
the water revenue.
And you second?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0, all right.
Next one is the paint machine for the street department. This has been on the budget for the last 2 years. Last year we decided not to. We got it up and running, got a replacement motor, I think the year before that, and it was running fine. But they've had to make some repairs, but figured now was the time to get a new one. Like I said, it's been in the budget, it's been in the plans. So we got a few different options for paint machines, a low price, a medium price, and a higher priced option The lower price, the $3,700 one, wouldn't meet our productivity level, but the $5,695 one would meet our standards for at least what we have now, and be better than what we have now because it'd work better. And then they also had a $8,500 option with $495 bead dispenser attachment. They said that this model they have it on the floor, so they discounted the price. You would normally get this for $14,000 plus. So thought we'd include that as an option, but we would be more than happy with the $5,695 model.
Do they walk behind these?
No. They set it and they form up where they're going. So you got a crosswalk. They have forms and they spray inside the forms to get it taken, and then move the form and spray it.
They hand spray it?
Hand spray it.
They don't walk any lines?
Mm-mm. This one, the expensive one, would set everything up. I think Gary said he wouldn't need forms for it. It would and also incorporate the glass beads that you do for the highway, reflective paint. So, no, they set it up and they paint, and then they set it up again and they paint, and they got pretty good at it. They have every form you need, from crosswalks to diagonal parking.
Well, now, does this one, I looked up online for different streets, and some of them said they have a green laser pointer. Do these have a green laser pointer?
I would say this one, the laser, the expensive one, because it plans out your spraying.
So they wouldn't have to put any forms down?
I think that's what Gary said, yes.
Well, wouldn't that be a lot more efficient?
Right, but it'd be, like I said in my report, the most useful this equipment would be like on roads on 11th Road and North Street, those long stretches.
Well, wouldn't we use it like when we, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Don't go for it.
When we paint the parking lines, wouldn't they use those for the parking lines and like all the sidewalks on the highway, the sidewalk crosswalks?
Right, it would be still a stop and do it. They probably wouldn't need to set up, which all they do is pick it up and put it right over what they had before and do that. So like I said, the most useful, the expensive one would be is when we do long stretches. Now, I will say this, when we're putting down this new cement for Highway 77, more than likely we're not going to we're going to have it where we have to paint or hire somebody to do it, rather than waiting
the parking stalls?
No, for the lines down the middle.
Oh.
Because normally you have somebody come in every 7 years and resurface, right? So that's not going to be the thing anymore.
To line it.
So we'll probably have to line it.
Well, the difference in cost is only $3,300 between the two units.
So is this
Two of the more expensive units.
So some of them you walked behind and they were self-propelled. Is that what this higher priced one is?
Oh, did he include that?
And does it have more like some of them held 5 gallons of paint and some of them held 10?
And I wonder too if they all work equally well on brick, just because it's one thing to go painting long stretches of concrete, but it seems like all that brick would be a different animal.
It's the same. It's the same.
Doesn't matter forms or not forms.
They use the same forms and all that. I mean, they have those forms ready to go on every line that we paint.
I know once upon a time we had a painting machine that had a cup that came down over it and you pushed it, which it didn't work well on the bricks, because if a brick had a dip in it or something, your line, instead of being a normal 4 inches, would have wide spots of 6 to 8 inches. That's because true. Of the slope of the brick, because it just...
It could run.
Yeah, well, it just floated out there.
True. That's true.
I could see that happening with the one where it's already planning it out, where it hits a spot and the plan has changed.
Well, we'll have to paint our lines where all the parking spaces are down there by the school too.
Can it do dual? Does it have a gun attachment
It
to
has
it as
two
well?
guns.
They
Well,
have two,
but the one
yeah.
that has the,
Yeah,
you
it's a,
program it in, can it do either or?
that, it has two guns, so,
Surely.
I mean, if you're saying it'd be good for the highway or long stretches, but then if you needed to use it for the brick, if you found out that the laser programming didn't work on the brick, could you in turn use the gun?
I think I think you can use the gun itself.
It looked like on the little YouTube videos that I watched this afternoon, they had, the guns
know how
were
to
the.
do it. You're an
I was
expert
scary,
now.
yeah. But the attachment, it looks like most of them were made to walk with it, and then you take, the guns are separate, and the spray gun. So if they could walk some, it just seems like they'd be more efficient for our street crew.
I can understand that.
I mean, I'm just sitting, okay, so every line to make it parallel, like an angle parking, they have to put a form down, and then they have to pick it up, put it, where if it's just a laser thing, you just, I mean,
They're pretty fast at what they do, though. But that's why we put this option out there.
I'm just thinking what our labor costs are. It seems like we want efficiency, the machines to help them be efficient.
And just for clarification, the first quote, that's got two different ones.
Yeah, the two different
Because
ones.
it's,
Yeah,
as it looks right now, it looks more expensive.
right. The first one, 3700, is its own machine, and then the second one is the 5695. Yeah,
So what's like Gary's opinion? I mean,
he was happy.
Happy with
He was
anything?
happy with the 5695. He wouldn't be happy with the 3700. Let's put it that way. And I mean, the 8500 one would be good as well, especially since you get it for what I say 14,000 plus normally if you ordered it brand new, and this is apparently the one they have on there.
and warranty's the same across
Yes,
all.
I was gonna ask that, if the
Yeah.
warranty was still
Yes.
good.
Even though it was a floor model.
Right.
Usually they are.
Yeah.
You should give us an extended warranty for that. We should negotiate that.
And then do we get a trade-in on the old one then, or what are we gonna do with the old one?
We'd probably sell it
On
because
Purple
it's on Purple Wave with all the other ones, all the other stuff. It's a motor and a sprayer. It's still work for somebody, just not with lots of streets to do. That has lots of streets to do. It's got some life left in it, but we want to get a new one before it ticks out.
Or do we just keep it as backup?
That's an option as well.
It depends on what we could get for it, I guess.
How old is it?
It's been around, they've replaced the motor quite a few times on it.
New motor
I'd say
last
if
year,
it's run
wasn't it?
good.
I thought it was the year before that,
Road.
but I can't swear to that.
Do you know what that bead dispenser is? That
Yeah, it's for the glass beads. So what you see out when they paint lines on the highway, they need a reflective material. That glass beads reflects right back the light from your car.
We're gonna have that budget workshop. Do you want to ask Gary if he thinks this is worth it, having it more at that meeting?
Well, we're kind of going into paint season. That's why this is here. I mean, like I said, this is what he said. He wouldn't mind if you bought the expensive one, but
He doesn't want the cheap one.
not the cheap one. Yeah, the 5695 is the standard. He'd be completely happy with it.
Well, with the more expensive one, it'd still be under budget, since it was 10,000 was budgeted.
And like what you said about South 10th Street and the highway, if we end up having to do that, we'll want the ability to do the beaded.
You should see some of these online, how fast they line. Whew. It was amazing.
If I would have brought it up when we got those dump trucks from Nebraska, there was a vehicle. They put paint spraying they made basically looked like a bus with a paint sprayer on it. They were selling it for like cheap. It wouldn't have been worth it it would have been worth it, but
I did look at other vendors for this, and the ones that were selling those line laser, they were higher than this $56.95. So, you guys decide. What do you want?
I think for just a little bit more, we just as well get the 8,500 one.
Labor efficient one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the bead dispenser.
Completely
That
fine
way,
with us.
hopefully, if we get a couple more years out of it, it'll pay for that difference easily.
Yeah.
So I move to approve the purchase of the $8,500 Striper LL5 3900 2-auto LZR with the additional bead dispenser kit for a total of $8,995.
I second it.
And see if you can make sure, you're going to confirm that you get the warranty on that?
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0, all right. I hope Gary agrees with us. If not, tell him to tell us about it at the workshop on Monday.
He wouldn't have proposed it if he wouldn't take it, other than that cheaper one. All right, also included is the bed specs for the water sewer truck, and there's a picture, a design of what that bed will look like for the water sewer truck. It's a knapheide bed with a ladder rack on top. The total cost for that is $14,934 installed. It'll take 5 months at least to get it in. And that was pretty standard from even going for an improved flatbed over at, what is that?
Bradford built one.
Yeah, Bradford built in Washington.
How much we pay for the truck we're putting it on?
$34,000.
$34,000.
I looked it up.
Yeah,
Is that one of the new trucks that we just ordered
new
without
trucks
a
that we
bed?
just bought, yeah.
No, it's $3,500.
Yep. And this'll, we budgeted $60,000 overall for this truck, so that is still under our budget. And we still have equipment to put on it, just like a radio and lights and stuff like that, but
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like is, there were some other companies that also sell these, how do you pronounce the word?
Knapheide, yeah.
Knapheide Body 600 series. I found a couple other places that sell those. And for $14,000, you don't think we should bid it by another bidder?
How much were they selling?
Well, you had to, I didn't want to get in a chat with them. I didn't do that. But
Right.
there was Truck Utilities Incorporated and Dehana. They both, one was in Kansas City and one was, I want to say Omaha, but both of them sold this kind of truck bed. I just thought, well, gosh, maybe we should bid that out.
A lot of them have protected territories, though. I wonder, you might be right, but I know a lot of these companies do protected territories and they kind of have pricing strictures, so they don't really let you shop around as much as you would think.
This is where we got the last bed from this company, or for Knapheide, was this. That's why they came from. That's why the bid came from there.
I guess just because it was almost $15,000. I guess I would have felt better with a second bid.
Not like a swimming pool park. We gotta have it. Where's the old bed that come off the truck?
Well, it's good. Well, number one,
It comes without a bed.
You mean the old truck that's
We
the
don't
truck's
have a bed
replacing?
on the old truck?
Probably a different cab axle.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of times they won't work.
There's so many capped axles. There's probably 14 of them on this model year alone. I don't know that it would fit
Right.
without severe modification.
Yeah. And this one, it's a different bed length than the one we have. So, because
This was a shorter bed. isn't
Yeah,
it?
shorter
That
bed.
one's probably a standard.
It's really that cabbed axle measurement that dictates the size of the bed.
yeah.
well, since it's going to take 5 months anyway, are you guys okay with that? Seeing if you can get another bid just to have a comp for $15,000?
You'd probably, rather than the same company, you'd want to try and find another like Omaha. or somebody else finds a Royal, but I don't know if there's anyone around here that sells those because they're
All I did was, I Googled nap hide, and then
Yeah.
I found these two dealers. But I didn't go in all the specs and
That's a
everything.
common one around here. But Omaha, I think's the other one I'm seeing around.
Is Omaha one
It's
that
a
would be a
brand.
different
It's a brand.
truck
Different
bed?
brand, yeah,
tr-
Omaha
Different bed truck?
It'd be, similar, it's just a different manufacturer's service bed. But I'm sure that they, make a model that would fit that.
So does like Alltech, that's another brand that you see around some of the utility companies
Alltech
use.
might be, well, one time maybe. Alltech I see on a lot of like Westar.
They build
Electric
them smaller though
Do
too,
they
I
make
think.
small ones?
Just,
Well, do you guys want to at least have them bring two bids? Just so that we,
That'd be good.
We try another one. I mean,
I know there's a
it's
Kansas City,
gonna be, I know whenever I've priced them, I mean, you're gonna spend $10,000 or better on a service bed. They're not a cheap.
well, if you only have one bid,
Yeah.
it's
I
not
know.
very good.
I know what
So,
you're saying.
but Truck Utilities, you asked me who it was? I think Truck Utilities was out of Kansas City. Or are you familiar with Dejana?
yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
That was
I'm not
another
familiar with their
nap hide
product.
builder.
Yeah, I'm
Or
not familiar with their
dealer.
service or anything, I just, yeah, I'm passing.
Okay, well, at least bring us two bids, is that all right? For the next meeting?
All right. And then we've been talked to over the last, actually since I've been here, about the condition of 11th Road, Keystone and 12th Road. And a couple people over the time have mentioned that they'd be more willing to deal with a gravel road than what we have right now. So I thought I'd throw that out there, because we haven't really decided on, we've decided that we want to do something and do it the right way, but we haven't decided on how we're going to pay for it. So until we decide how we're going to pay for it, I'm proposing, or at least seeing if you guys want to make this one or all of these a serviceable road, because right now we can barely do anything with what's there. And if it was a gravel road in its place, let's say we do 11th Road or do 12th Road or all of the above, and turn it back to gravel, that way we can actually maintain them when they get potholes and keep them smoother than what they are now.
First question would be, how much does it cost to convert them? And the second one is, how much do we want to budget for dust treatment?
Well, I think we need to call that community together and say, these are our options. We can either surface it, concrete it, and have some type of assessments and try to figure out if they're willing to do. I think you have to talk to the people there. Some people are not gonna be happy that it
They're
turns
not
into a
gonna
gravel.
agree
you
though,
do a
because you're gonna
town
find some that don't wanna.
I know, but I'm just saying you have to go with the majority and see what
Yeah.
they'll do. But I think we haven't ever had a community meeting with the 11th Road, 12th Road, and Keystone people, and we should open up the conversation and see what they say
Right.
before we decide to do something. Like, just on the 12th Street, since I've been home, I had a call that they hated the rock that was put down on
Well,
12th
the
Road.
rock that got put down on there looks like railroad ballast. I don't know where we got that
Did
from.
we put that down?
No, we
It's
don't
some
put rock
rough-
down on 12th Road is
On
township.
12th.
12th
on
Road.
off next
You
to
think-
the side of
After the or is it on
No,
the
It's
it's
on
asphalt?
the asphalt.
That's what
It's on
somebody-
the asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's-
somebody-
There's
It is
big gray
rough.
rock on it.
It is
So-
rough.
Then
It's-
yeah,
it's
that's
on
a
the
harder rock,
In
yeah.
the potholes.
Yeah.
Yes, we drove on it.
Yeah.
Yes, we drove over it. They patched and then some of the holes had big rock in it.
So they were very upset that we put rock on top of asphalt to fill up the holes. Then you go farther down and another person was very happy that you filled in, like, did you do hot mix or cold mix on the
Cold
asphalt? Okay, so anyway, they were saying, thanking us. So I had the contrast of both. So people hated the big rock and thank you for doing the patch. So I think we just have to have a meeting with those people and just say, hey, what do you want? And I know everybody's gonna, but we
And
just take the
Are you
majority.
willing to participate? In
That
benefit
a
district?
cost sharing, yeah, yeah. So I think that's our next move, is to have the conversation, set up a meeting, send it out to everybody, pick a time, and talk about our options. They might surprise me, but I can't imagine they all want to go to gravel.
Well, and who would be responsible for maintaining it if it was all gravel? Or, I mean, that's township that maintains it then, clear up to the highway?
No,
We
it'd
would
be
have to
ours.
grade it.
Yes.
We would have to grade it.
Yes.
We don't own all of it, though. Would we grade the part that's neither side ours on the township?
That
On
would
12th
probably
Road?
require another agreement, but
That with the township, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because right now, the township grades part of it, and we
snow
At the-
remove, right?
asphalt part.
yeah.
Correct?
Right.
Okay.
So I think we need to open the discussions there. So we probably need to go ahead and get that started. And, you know, with our budget meeting next week, the sooner the better we meet with that community out there. And
How do you want to do that?
I think we ask them all to come in here and we
Yeah, pick it
talk
off
about,
Monday night.
and we sit there and say, we had a ballpark estimate of $1 million.
Yeah.
And we'll see what they say. And see if, I guess we have to decide, if they're willing to have an assessment and how much. And then we have to figure out how we could fund the rest of it. And some of them claim that we need 12th Road is the most important. Other people say 11th Road is the most important. So maybe one road, maybe they'd be happy with one road. You never know. So, I know, they probably want all three, but, so.
And then Dust Patrol, who pays for that, One of them told me that the city paid for the Dust Patrol, and I said,
Oh, it's been every way. It's when
Yeah.
the residents have paid it and the city has paid it, and so. All right. Did we answer that enough?
Yep.
And I did bring my pieces of the tennis court
Oh,
from my last walk around. So these
You're
pieces.
the one who's been tearing it up.
No, it was already loose, trust me. But this was off the south courts.
Yeah.
And, did you get any estimates on any of that?
I haven't
for the
gotten any
top
estimates
course?
on it.
Nothing yet?
No.
But that's how it's coming up, is whole chunks like that, so I wanted to share. And are you looking at this? Are you looking at this? Are you wanting to do this now?
Okay. I got a redone bid this morning from JD Construction for the alley by Sunflower, and their bid came in at $34,134.40, which is about $7,000 less than what they initially bid for the entire alley. We changed it from a 20-foot wide to a 16-foot wide. And it kind of,
So we reduced it 20%, and you think they took the bid down 20%?
right. I actually estimated about 5,000 drop when I did and took their previous numbers and the measurements that we applied and then applied them to the new measurements. I figured about 5,000 drop, so this was above what I expected.
Okay. Are they getting ready to do this?
They're getting close to cement, yes.
I figured they were. Well, I'm glad that they reduced it based on the, are you guys happy with this? So do you want to go ahead and approve this new bid?
out of,
Sales tax, as well, that's where it was
That's where it
originally
was,
planned.
right?
Yeah,
is that where it was?
yep.
How much was it?
41,000, a little over 41,000 previously.
7,000.
Move to approve the bid for JD Construction for the alleyway between South Fourth and South Fifth for $34,134.40.
I'll second it.
For 315 by 16 foot alley,
And you'll second it?
concrete.
Out of sales tax. All right, is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for getting that, Austin. Anything else?
Nothing else.
All right. We'll move along to standing committees. Anybody got anything on street? Water, wastewater?
Do you want a report on our meeting tonight?
Okay.
The committee, Kevin, Todd, myself, and met with Cindy, and there were 2 applications that they wanted some relief on their bills. One was 504 Calhoun, and we decided no credit on that. That involved a kitchen sink leak that filled the basement, and the water was pumped into the city sewer.
Oh, so that's why you didn't get the sewer, okay.
And 600 South 11th Street, that's going to be contingent on more documentation, and we may issue credit of $564.90, but need some more documentation.
Is that not using sewer? Is that why you're,
It's a sinkhole in the yard.
It's sinkhole.
a sinkhole in the yard? Okay. And what are you waiting for from them?
More documentation.
From the plumber involved, I believe.
Okay. All right.
Mayor,
Yes,
you're still on wastewater?
yes.
A taxpayer here in town has been waiting 2 weeks for somebody to take care of her problem with the sewer system. She's called here 2 weeks ago, but nobody's ever gotten back to her, and she's been going without her sewer over the holiday.
Do you know about that?
She approached the city, actually, she approached and talked, she actually had a conversation with, if it's the same person, up on 10th Street, correct? Talked to staff about something before the water line project ever happened, and said she was having problems with their sewer. She has an older sewer that goes about a half a block away from her home, and attaches to a main. Now, following the water line project,
The North Street water line?
the North Street water line project, she's claiming that we hit her line. We have pictures showing her line going across, untouched, across our new water line.
Into the water line.
Yeah,
No,
in
well, now
in the
hers is a
trench,
sewer.
in the trench, you can see her sewer line going across our trench, untouched. So, as far as her sewer
Oh,
goes.
you cambered the sewer line?
No, we have pictures of her,
When the trench was open.
when the
for
trench was
installation.
open, her solid sewer line was going across the trench, and we could see that. And we have pictures of
Which
that.
is always below the water line.
That one's above the water line. Yeah.
Very-
It's a very old one. It's a very old
Private
one.
ones are all over the place.
Yeah.
But I didn't think we were ever put sewer lines above water lines.
It's a very
We
old,
didn't.
it's a very old.
There's some around town that, I mean, for people's houses that are a couple feet deep, 3 feet deep.
I don't know
Yeah.
how deep mine is.
I've
but
seen
it's
some
about
that are
a
shallow
block
enough
long.
that they'll freeze if you're not careful. If there's a low spot or they get plugged.
Now, we have a walkthrough for that project again, and it's been, and we'll look at that again, but for all intents and purposes, we did not hit that line, or the contractors didn't hit the line according to the photos that we have.
It had documented pre-existing problems.
Has she had a plumber over there? to
She
root it
had,
out
she had a
so far?
plumber out there to
Okay.
rotor
Yeah.
it out.
But now she
And
has
he couldn't
sewer
get
now.
through it, or?
I don't,
She has no sewer right now.
she says she can only do one load of laundry and then wait. So, as far as we know, we did not touch her line.
But we want to make sure that sewer line's not leaking if it's above our water line.
It's, okay, yeah, true.
Well, it's probably leaking. I mean, you
Water
talk
line's under
leaching in the
pressure.
ground,
It's
it's probably, I mean, if it's an old
Reverse,
line,
the
it's
sewer's not gonna
probably,
bother the water line.
no. it's not gonna
But
get
it'd be
any.
nice if the lady could use her toilets if there's a problem, but she wanted somebody to get back with her and see what the city was gonna do about it, and they didn't respond. That's her complaint to me.
Will you follow up? Awesome. All right, anything else, water sewer?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we get a call in today on 10th Street in front of the police department and superintendent's office?
Yes. Yep, there's a small leak there, yes.
Okay.
Yep,
For sewer?
for water.
Water.
Thank
we-
goodness.
Yeah, it's trickling out of the side of the street, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it goes here, but I had someone ask me about a second meter.
Uh-huh.
And I guess they've been asking for over 2 years.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing that whole combined, we're bogged down on small projects, and large projects take precedent a lot of times. So this week, we are concentrating on small projects like that.
You think they'll go down?
Yeah, that's the hope. We had a ton of things going on today. Today was water day, water and sewer day, and they were doing a lot of dirt work and fixing pits and the likes. And the idea was to get caught up on a lot of these small projects. And
Do you know if they did that meter?
I don't know right now if they did that meter,
Okay,
but that is on. Can't put that on the list.
okay.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, speaking of the wastewater and wastewater, I noticed there wasn't a weekly report from the water department. Was there
Last week?
Yeah.
in our weekly report? I thought maybe I would have read about this person's problem, but there wasn't any weekly report from the water department this week?
We get busy from time to time, don't always get back to the office to make our reports.
Okay.
I figured water leaks and work would trump a report. I mean, if you guys don't agree, that's...
His point, which I think is a valid point, when somebody calls, we would know about it.
But that wouldn't be in his report.
It wouldn't be in his report?
It wouldn't be in his
But he
report.
repaired that, what he worked on, if he worked on the house on 10th Street? That he not scoped it, but he cameraed it? It wouldn't be on his
We
report?
we wouldn't camera a private
Oh,
line. Yeah.
Picture.
And we have a picture of while the water line project was going on. And their line is this big, and the camera wouldn't go down it anyways.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. You wouldn't have known anyway. That's the final answer. Okay, anything else wastewater? Water, wastewater? Okay, Parks and Rec. I had somebody ask if they can do early morning swim as soon as possible. Kathy, since she's not at college, do you know when they could possibly have morning swim?
2 weeks before is when we're planning.
Like May 15th? They'll be happy.
May 13th. It's
They'll
a
be-
Monday.
May 13th, they'll be happy. I'll let them know.
That's the plan as of right now.
That's when our next council meeting is, right? Yeah, I'll tell them. They'll be excited. That's good. There are, the Kester, the man doing the wall, they're doing the Kester restaurant wall as well as no.
Just the museum. He's working.
That's what I thought, but
he's
you put
working-
in the highlights, I thought you said the Kester House Museum and I thought it was just the
I
museum.
was talking about the restaurant work as well as the Kester House wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's two separate projects. They're
Okay.
just lots of things going on at the block.
Okay, and you said, I think I sent you one email and you didn't answer. They took the cellar door off?
Right,
They
because
still
it was
have a door.
it was already off. Like
But they still have another door. They still have a door.
there's a door at the bottom of the stairs. They
Uh-huh.
took the top one off because it was broken.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's the top door, okay. And, so we didn't have the sinks working at the Easter egg hunt
At these.
at City Park? They said the sinks didn't work?
That's the first I've heard that. The bathrooms are supposed to be completely open.
Okay, because they said the bathrooms were open, the toilets were working, but the sinks weren't working, at least in the men's.
Interesting.
I didn't go there, they called.
I had a complaint about that, just, not the sink's not working, but that there's no soap in the bathrooms.
Well, we didn't have a sink, so that was that in the girls or the boys?
Hand sanitizer.
I'm just kidding.
Well, it was a girl that took her little boy, so I'm assuming probably the girl.
On the girls' side? Yeah, they usually just have that little pump thing. Why don't we put a little dispenser up there? Does that make sense? In our walls?
Usually they got this softest soap or whatever.
Well,
And
she
there's
said
what
when she
they've had in
came
the
back that they
past.
didn't
Yeah, but
have
somebody can
any.
easily take
Oh, I
those.
know, that's just it, someone can walk off with them.
Yeah, with the little pump
It
thing,
would be
yeah.
nice to have soap in the
We
bathroom.
don't, we don't have like
Wash your
dispenser
hands.
stuff at the
But
ball
you
fields.
think the sinks are working now?
They should have been
There's like a roll of
Yeah.
towels just sitting
I told them,
there.
I said, oh
There's
no, you're
towel
telling me they didn't.
dispenser.
But they were grateful the bathrooms worked, the toilets worked. Okay. And anybody else have anything on Parks and Rec?
And I just had someone tell me thanks for getting the light fixed in Dargett's Park. So,
That's good.
I just want to make sure I clarified from last meeting, a comment was made that I had helped them winterize the pool, and I had not. I discussed with them about winterizing they had a hot water recirculating
Did we
line
put that in the
break.
minutes?
I don't think it was in the
Oh,
minutes.
okay.
No, but it was,
But it just, I've had
You made a
people ask me
comment?
about it. No, there was a comment last week made that I had helped to winterize the pool and I had not. And I just wanted to clarify that I had discussed winterizing the domestic side so that they wouldn't break that recirculating line again. But they never called me back in the fall, and I'm assuming they got it taken care of. But I never discussed anything about winterizing the pool. I don't know the first thing about winterizing that pool. So I'm not taking the blame for that one.
Okay, well, we probably need to
I just wanted that clarified.
re-go over that procedure.
Right, and they
Training.
talked about that with the plumber himself, so, yeah, and there's a plan too.
Okay. Anything else on Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport?
Maybe we might, a little reminder of Mother's Day will be the second Sunday in May, and I know we had a lot of complaints last year about the cemetery not being mowed. Of
Yeah.
course, there'd been a lot of rain
Oh,
previous,
yeah.
you know.
I forgot about that. I'm glad you remembered that, because they said that that's the second most attended day of the year is at the cemetery was Mother's Day, which makes
Which I'm
sense.
surprised.
Yeah, so will you just double check?
That's why tomorrow everybody's gonna be, where they got all the weed eaters ready for tomorrow to attack the cemetery, so we're gonna get, that's the whole idea behind these 3 days.
yeah, but that's way early for Mother's Day.
I know it's way early, but at least it won't, well,
That'll be
got at
3
least
weeks
once.
out.
no, I know, just trust me, we're working on it.
All you have to do is say it'll be cut for Mother's, it'll look nice on Mother's Day. Okay, that's what we wanted to hear.
Well, it caught up with Dale last year, and he,
Right. Well, different priorities got thrown at him, and we
Right.
apparently chose the wrong priority.
yeah, he felt bad about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know when Dale's gonna be back either.
Okay. Police and fire, the only thing, I sent David an email late tonight, he made a comment in the highlights about open spaces and somebody looking at those lots, those open lots. Do you know what that meant?
No. If probably somebody just came in and asked him a bunch of
Charlie
questions.
something?
I don't know what they talked about, but probably just somebody came in and asked him about it.
Okay, it wasn't, okay, you think it's just renting? Okay. Admin.
I had a person tell me that they have a neighbor who drives their motorcycle on the sidewalk, and they have complained to the police, but the police haven't done anything. And the neighbor says they work for the city, so they can do what they want to, is what the person told me.
Okay.
Don't look at me, I don't ride on my sidewalk.
I don't have a motorcycle.
So, who made that comment that they work for the city? The person
The
that
person
that viewed
riding
it?
on the motorcycle said they work.
they didn't have to abide? Okay, you can say something at department head meetings, like,
Are they like riding down the sidewalk the whole block, or are they just like riding up their driveway and down the sidewalk to park it somewhere in front of their house or something.
I don't know, I think they have a little sign that says, "I work for the city, I can do what I want." I'm
I was
just
just
kidding.
curious how far they drove it down the sidewalk.
Okay, well, we'll
Still
hope,
right on the sidewalk.
okay, well, we'll try to figure out who that is. Okay. Finance and admin? All right. We move along to appointments. Appointments are on the back pages. The first one is Brian Crott and Anthony Ring for the library board, and then for the fire department, it's David Richardson as chief, deputy chief is Don Ballman, and Joe Pizzle is the assistant chief. So that's my mayor appointments. Austin said I don't have to do the secretary.
Oh, really?
So I'm just doing that according to what Austin said I need to do.
Move the mayor's appointments for the library and fire department boards.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0, very good. And I don't know of anything for executive sessions. City attorney, you have anything? No. Okay. And roundtable, I have just two things. First, the MTI training was very important. What I learned was on how important the census was. Darlene just sent me another thing on the census, but it was saying based on, if you miss a household, it's equivalent to $52,000. If we miss one household in the census. So it's going to be something where we need to participate and make sure all the houses are counted in 2020, because it's all we directly get
And
funding based on that.
I worked on the last census, and if any of the crew members weren't able to contact somebody who had not sent, had not sent their form in, so then they had to be contacted. If they cannot be contacted or won't give information, you have to get the information from a neighbor. So you have to rely on whatever the neighbor tells you. So it's very important that people do.
Everybody get counted because of
do
funding and
complete
school
the
funding and all
census.
that kind of stuff.
From
And
the
the-
neighbor.
And then the other thing is that they, the transportation board that they set up, they said that for the state of Kansas, KDOT said that there's $18 billion of infrastructure needs, especially like substructure failures, which we know all about substructure failures here. And so 18 billion of needs, and the budget last year was 1.3 billion. So, and Lindsay Douglas, who was with UP, Union Pacific, now is with KDOT. So I went up and talked to her, and she goes, "I remember you from Marysville." So anyway, but the good thing is they really sounded like they were listening to the needs of the local governments, not just the big cities. So that was encouraging for me. So thank you for letting me go to that training. The last thing I want to talk about is the Pony Up Day, which is on May 3rd? May 3rd? May 3rd, yeah. May 2nd is a community prayer breakfast at 7 a.m. So I hope everyone does that for National Day of Prayer at Land O'Lane's on May 2nd. But May 3rd is Pony Up Day, Marysville Day. And we have one of the things that you can contribute to. On the sheet, it says Lakeview Complex, but it's specifically supposed to be for foul ball protection. And so they can make it anywhere beginning at midnight that day. But people are going to be at Helvering from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I thought I'd be willing to go there if anybody else wants to join me and just encourage people. But the main thing I was going to ask you guys is, if we can present it so that if they contribute, the city will contribute X. Like, if let's just say $2,000 is raised, then the city will match it by equal or double that or triple that. I mean, it could be anything to say, if we get these contributions in, the city would do this match to encourage people to give and kind of start that community thing, participating in some of the improvements. Because in the past, other than when they built it and the playground there hasn't been any community involvement at Lakeview since.
And the playground was one donor that gave bids.
Yeah, and then the building was by volunteers.
Yep.
So, what do you guys feel that we could make that, offer to people when they come in? That if they donate, you know, and the dog park is true, the dog park, except we don't have I mean, we have monies designated for Lakeview, but we don't have monies designated for the dog park. And again, my problem with the dog park is because trying to keep it fair with what we offered Nathan Ottens. So, how do you guys feel? Do you think we can make that commitment that whatever they give, we would either double, the city would make a double contribution to whatever they give?
Don't you think we would need a limit? In case we had something.
Do you think people are gonna give $20,000?
That'd be a
Well,
pretty
you-
nice.
If the people gave us $20,000, we could make a huge improvement on Lakeview. I think we could find the money for that, but, do you want to say up to, we'll double yours up to $10,000 or whatever? Which would give us, we'd have to commit to 20,000, but they'd give 10.
What's the cost, estimated cost for foul wall protection?
Depends on what you're looking at. I think the last number I found was 8 for
Per field,
one,
right?
but that was,
So if, say,
that one didn't work.
so if 30, so if we said something like, we'll match it 2 to 1 to up to 30, or something like that, I think more than just matching would be good.
Yeah, well, that's why if they already get, you know, if they give the first 2,000 or 4,000 they get a match of 2,000 from the Marysville Community Foundation, so that's an extra 2. But if we could say, we'll match you 3 for 1, or double,
Or I'd say 2 to 1.
2 to 1, and,
Original donation or plus the?
The original.
The original
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, the math.
so I think it'd be beneficial, we might encourage more people to give and say, hey, if you'll contribute this, the city will contribute twice as much, and we'll
That
get
was-
this done. Huh?
Sorry to interrupt. That was something Brian commented at that meeting, was that, you know, there's people that would like to donate, but they're asked, well, how much has the city contributed? And then they don't donate
they're like,
because
"Oh,
the
city's
city
matching."
isn't matching, or the city isn't contributing to things up there.
So we need
That's
to
what he
itemize
said.
that a little better.
So, we can
No,
start
that's
with
just what he
this,
said.
and we can see what people say. If it's a consensus of council, we could go ahead and when we man the table, say the council just decided that we'd match 2 for 1,
are you giving me an
I think so.
estimate?
up to, I guess, $20,000.
Yeah, I'd say the 2 to 1 to 20, that way we know we aren't gonna have to come up with 100,000 or something.
Yeah, that would be a good problem,
Oh, shucks.
finding 100,000. But anyway, all right, so we have, does anybody else want to work that and on that Friday, 7 to 5? Or you could come anytime, you don't have to work the whole time. Okay, you guys, I'll go there.
I would, but I'm out of town.
Okay, so I'm gonna say 2 for 1 match and present it that way. Consensus of council, yes?
On that job, is there going to be an open bar?
No, I don't think so. But I haven't worked it, so I don't know, I shouldn't say that. Is there an open bar down there, Bruce? No, he says no. Okay.
Count me out.
Okay, that's all I have for roundtable. Darlene?
Well, thank you to the city group for cleanup days and picking up in the city. I really
Yeah, they said they were
appreciate
really
it.
busy.
And then I might remind everybody again about the free disposal days at the Marshall County Transfer Station. That's this Thursday, the 25th, and Saturday, the 27th, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's free except for the materials that they will take, and tires they will take, but there is a fee for the tires.
All right. Thank you. Gina? Terry?
Nothing.
Todd?
Well, you know, a lot of hay's been made here and there over the years comparing some of the things in Marysville to things in, well, other towns, so we'll say Seneca or Sabetha, and kind of like, why can't we have this? Or, you know, Seneca looks so nice and things. And sometimes, you know, I bristle at that a little bit, but I've been spending a little more time in Nemaha County since I work over there now with a lot of people from Seneca and Sabetha. I think we may give ourselves too little credit because I kind of, I have that inferiority complex, like maybe they do a little more to keep their communities nice looking, but without fail, when you talk to people, they think, oh, Marysville's a really with it town. They think, oh, it always looks nice when I go through and seems like there's a lot of good things. So I think maybe, we spend a little too much time comparing ourselves negatively because we see the faults when we really do have a lot here that
We have a great
people see.
community.
People who aren't from here see that, and people from places that maybe we admire see that in us too.
As
so
well.
that's good. I
Both
think
ways.
I think it's just something we need to step back and remember sometimes.
Good
That's it.
job. Diane?
Well, I think I've got the newsletter today, but I see we are still needing lots of surveys yet to be sent
Hey, do we have
in.
an update on that?
277 surveys and still 53%
Is that mailing everything? That's as of what date?
as of this morning.
So, and did she mail some in yesterday?
Well, today is Monday, so
I meant Friday. She mail in whatever she had?
I don't know what she did on Friday.
Okay, so gang, in May, we might need to hit the streets because we have to get 500 in.
By when?
Well, ideally June 1st.
How close
So that
are
we,
we?
277, he says.
We're at 277, we need
501.
we need 504.
504.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't realize that many people didn't turn them in.
Right. It's a pulling teeth situation where either they go, oh, it's just city, or I don't wanna, and it's a challenge, even going door to door.
It is a bit awkward. I went door to door and got some. And it's amazing that I do wear my badge that says Mayor of Marysville. So that's my only credentials is my badge. But it is awkward. Some people don't like to tell you what they make or fill it out. You can have an envelope that they'll give you and they can mail it in if they don't want to tell you. Just depends on how it goes. But yeah, so we'll see how the next couple weeks brings, and then we might have to hit the streets. Maybe we should set up a table at the Mother's Day market and ask them what people's addresses are. Are you on our list? So maybe not. Okay.
That'd work if everybody was required to turn in a survey. I don't think you'd probably catch you'd probably catch here and there.
Yeah, it'd be hard. Where do you live? Yeah, make people nervous. Where do you live? All right. Anything else, Diane?
No.
Nope.
Jason?
Just a couple of things to make me up with this afternoon. I should have mentioned it in parks. I don't know if anybody's been to Dargits, but they painted the horses and they look awesome.
They do look great. I didn't realize they had just painted them.
They do, but now the framework that they hang from looks bad.
I saw that they were also saying they put in new swing sets at Dargits.
They did.
Are those toddler swing sets?
Yes.
Because I know somebody said we needed toddler play
Yeah,
sets.
we added a few more. In fact, we reused some of this, where'd they pull them from, Lakeview or something like that? Another park.
Could have been,
Yeah, they pulled them and attached them to an existing, the existing swing set as an extra extension. 3 more swings there, and then the new swings that we ordered a while back, they installed the new toddler swings.
Was one of those ones where you face the child? Remember what those?
Cats or lions?
That's in line.
That's the
one
line.
in
So we didn't put one of those in the
No, no,
Dargits?
no,
Oh, okay.
No, just regular toddler, it's a T with 2 toddler swings on it, and just those normal 4-hole ones.
Oh, the little basket like.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else, Jason?
It was that, and also around the perimeter, around the playground equipment. There's railroad ties, and then they have like a 1x8 or whatever on top of them. Those are getting in rough shape. They're getting splintered and everything, and kids are starting to
The
pull.
railroad ties or the
Well,
the
no, the
framing?
railroad ties I think are all right. Just the top 2x8 or whatever that they screwed on top of that.
They
is
put a
kind of
cap on top of it
Yeah.
of wood, so you could sit on it. It looks like
Yep.
a normal, it looks like a bench place you can sit down on.
But it's wood rather
They're
than
just-
plastic?
It's wood, and it's just getting
Needs to be replaced.
splintered, and kids are pulling off
No,
pieces.
just
and
get new wood and
Dargits,
put it on there.
Yeah, it's kind of a safety issue for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, the winter was probably not the best to.
Yeah, it was rough on it.
So
I saw some guys working at Dargits. That's why I was like, oh yeah, I saw
They've
them.
been doing some stuff,
those, yeah.
and they were appreciative of that. So But said the guys were working hard and getting a lot of stuff done there, so
Anything else?
that's it.
All right, so we have a budget meeting next Monday night at 5:30 here. And again, the National Day of Prayer at 7 a.m. at Land O'Lane's and Pony Up Marysville on May 3rd. So with that being said,
Move to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. 9:04. Not bad.